Welcome back to the channel, Rarest Coins, where we uncover the hidden value of the coins you might already have in your pocket or coin jar. Today, we're talking about the 1971 D. Washington Quarter. This coin might look ordinary, but some collectors believe there's a version out there that's worth up to $1.5 million. Is that real? Is your change actually hiding a fortune? Stick around, because today we're diving into the fascinating history, hidden errors, and shocking value of this iconic coin. Let's begin with a little background. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Since then, it has become one of the most familiar and widely circulated coins in American history. For decades, it featured the same classic design, Washington's profile on the front and a bald eagle on the back. From 1932 to 1964, Washington quarters were made of 90% silver. But due to rising silver prices and a national coin shortage, the U.S. Mint made a big change starting in 1965. They removed silver from circulating quarters and began using a copper-nickel-clad composition. This is the same metal makeup used in the 1971 D quarter. Now let's look specifically at the 1971 D quarter. That D stands for the Denver Mint, where this particular version of the coin was produced. In 1971, the Denver Mint struck over 258 million quarters. That's a lot. So under normal circumstances, a 1971 D. Washington quarter in circulated condition is worth about 25 cents. It's common, and you've probably seen one many times without thinking twice. But here's where things get interesting. Even though millions of these coins were minted, collectors have discovered that certain rare versions of the 1971 D quarter are worth much more than face value. And in one extraordinary case, it's been rumored that a rare error version of this coin sold for up to $1.5 million in a private sale. While that number might sound unbelievable, here's why some versions of this coin can reach such a high value. First, let's talk about errors. When coins are made, the process involves blank metal discs called planchets, high-pressure dies, and extremely precise machinery. But sometimes, mistakes happen. A coin may be struck off-center. It may be double-struck. The dies may clash or be misaligned. Or in rare cases, a coin could be struck on a planchet meant for a different denomination altogether, like a nickel, dime, or even a foreign coin. One of the most valuable and fascinating types of minting mistakes is a transitional error. A transitional error happens when a coin is struck using the wrong metal composition, often from a leftover blank from a previous year. For example, a coin dated 1971 but accidentally struck on a silver planchet from 1964 would be considered a major transitional error. And that is the kind of error that collectors dream about. So why would a 1971 D quarter be worth $1.5 million? That price tag likely comes from a unique combination of extreme rarity, a dramatic error, and perfect condition. Imagine a 1971 D quarter struck on a leftover silver planchet, with flawless surfaces, sharp details, and absolutely no signs of wear. If that coin is the only known example in existence, it becomes one of a kind. And in the world of coin collecting, one of a kind can mean one thing: priceless. These types of coins are usually found only by accident. Someone hears a different sound when they drop a quarter, or they weigh a coin and notice something's off. Most clad quarters, like the standard 1971 D, weigh about 5.67 grams. A silver quarter would weigh closer to 6.25 grams. That small difference could be the first clue to identifying a rare coin worth a fortune. Another clue is the edge of the coin. Most modern quarters show a copper-colored stripe along the edge. That's the inner copper core. But a silver planchet would show a solid silver edge with no copper visible. Then there's condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with higher numbers indicating better condition. A grade of MS65 or higher can already boost a coin's value significantly. But if a coin reaches MS68, MS69, or even MS70 and is combined with a rare error or metal composition, its value can explode. High-grade error coins, especially those confirmed by grading services like PCGS or NGC, often sell for tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. So let's say a 1971 D. Washington quarter is discovered, struck on a silver planchet, with no signs of wear, and it gets a perfect or near-perfect grade from a professional grading company. If that coin is the only known example, it could easily be worth hundreds of thousands, and if two collectors want it badly enough, maybe even 1.5 million. Now, how can you find out if you have one? Start by going through your old change. Look for 1971 D quarters that seem different. Examine the edge. Weigh the coin. Compare the sound it makes when dropped to that of another quarter. If something feels off, take it seriously. Never clean a coin. That can destroy its value. Instead, take it to a professional coin dealer or send it to a reputable grading service. Even if you don't have the $1 million version, you could still find valuable coins. High-grade 1971 D quarters, even without errors, can sell for good money if they're in mint condition. Some have sold for over $1,000 simply due to their exceptional preservation. So is the story of the 1971 D Washington quarter worth $1.5 million real? It's certainly possible. In the world of rare coins, history and condition matter just as much as mintage numbers. The coin market has proven time and time again that rare errors in perfect condition can command astronomical prices. And while most quarters from 1971 are common, that one rare example, the one with a freak minting error, struck on silver, in perfect condition, could truly be worth a fortune. And that's what makes coin collecting so exciting. Every old coin in your drawer could be hiding a story. Every quarter could hold the potential for something amazing. You never know what you'll find until you look. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the mystery of the 1971 D Washington quarter and want more videos about rare coins, hidden errors, and the shocking values of everyday change, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a discovery. Until next time, keep checking your change, keep asking questions, and who knows, your next coin might just be worth $1.5 million. Let me know if you'd like a version tailored for shorts, a visual storyboard, or suggestions for video tags and thumbnail text. Welcome back to the channel, where we uncover the stories behind America's most valuable and mysterious coins. Rarest coins. Today, we're diving into the world of the 1965 Washington quarter. At first glance, it might look like an ordinary coin, but some versions of this quarter have been rumored to be worth up to $1.9 million. So, is it true? Could you really have a $1 million coin hiding in your pocket change? Let's break down the history, the facts, and what makes this coin so valuable to collectors. Let's start with the background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. It was originally made of 90% silver and 10% copper. For decades, these silver quarters were minted and circulated widely across the United States. But in 1965, everything changed. The United States Mint faced a major silver shortage. Demand was high, silver prices were rising, and the government had to make a decision. That year, the U.S. Mint officially removed silver from the quarter. Starting in 1965, quarters were no longer made of silver. Instead, they were made from a clad composition, using copper and nickel bonded together. That's why 1965 is such an important year in American coinage history. It marks the end of silver quarters and the beginning of the modern clad coin era. Now here's where things get really interesting, because 1964 quarters were the last made with silver. And 1965 quarters were the first made with the new clad composition. The U.S. Mint was under a lot of pressure. There were reports of some 1965 quarters being accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets, the blank metal discs used to make coins. If that happened, it would mean a 1965 quarter with silver content. That's not supposed to exist, which makes it incredibly rare. And here's the kicker. A few of these rare silver 1965 quarters have actually been found. They're not just myths. They're real. And they've sold at auction for staggering amounts of money. The most valuable 1965 silver quarter ever discovered was graded at an extremely high level of preservation and was struck on a genuine silver planchet, likely a leftover from 1964. That coin reportedly sold for as much as $1.9 million in a private transaction. That's right, one simple quarter, nearly $2 million. So how can you tell if you have one of these rare 1965 quarters? There are a few key things to look for. First, check the edge of the coin. Normal clad quarters from 1965 have a visible copper-colored line around the edge. If your 1965 quarter doesn't have that copper line and appears to be solid silver all the way through, you might be holding a rare silver version. Second, weigh the coin. A normal clad 1965 quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. A silver quarter, on the other hand, weighs around 6.25 grams. That small difference in weight can make a huge difference in value. So if you think you found a silver 1965 quarter, take it to a precise scale. If the weight is closer to 6.25 grams, you might have something special. Next, listen to the sound. Silver coins make a distinct, high-pitched ringing sound when dropped on a hard surface, like glass or metal. Clad coins sound dull in comparison. If your quarter rings like a bell, it's worth further investigation. Finally, look at the condition. While many circulated coins will have wear and scratches, the extremely valuable ones tend to be in exceptional condition, either never circulated or preserved somehow. High-grade examples can add thousands to the value, especially when combined with a rare error like being struck on a silver planchet. Now let's talk about other 1965 quarter errors and varieties that can still be worth serious money, even if they're not made of silver. There are double-die errors, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and coins struck on the wrong metal. These types of minting mistakes are always in high demand with collectors. For example, a 1965 quarter that was struck on a dime planchet, which is smaller and made of a different material, has sold for thousands of dollars. Another known error is the transitional error, a coin struck with the wrong metal or even the wrong date due to a mix-up at the mint. And then there's the high-grade market. If you find a 1965 quarter that has never been circulated, with perfect surfaces, sharp detail, and no marks, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars just based on condition alone. Coins graded at MS66, MS67 or higher are very rare from this year and are highly sought after. So what's the bottom line? Most 1965 quarters are common and worth 25 cents. But if you find a rare error or a coin that's been struck on a silver planchet, you could be looking at a coin worth thousands or even millions. The $1.9 million 1965 quarter may be the rarest of them all, but it's not just a fantasy. It's a real piece of numismatic history, and it proves that valuable treasures can still be found in everyday change. If you have any 1965 quarters, now is the time to check them. Look at the edge. Weigh the coin. Examine it closely for errors. And if you think you found something special, don't spend it. Get it evaluated by a professional coin dealer or grading service like PCGS or NGC. A little investigation could lead to a life-changing discovery. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins, valuable errors, and how to spot hidden treasures in your own collection, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss an update. Until next time, keep checking your change, because your next coin might just be worth a fortune. Let me know if you want visuals, an intro script, or call-to-action graphics to go along with the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the world of coins, treasures, and the surprising value hiding in your pocket change. Today we're talking about the legendary 1982 D. Washington quarter. Is it really worth over $1 million? What makes it special? And how can you tell if you've got one of these rare coins sitting in your coin jar right now? Rarest coins. Stick around because what I'm about to share might just change the way you look at your spare change forever. Let's go back to the year 1982. Ronald Reagan was president, gas was just over $1 a gallon, and the U.S. Mint was facing a major budget problem. That year, something unusual happened in the world of coinage. The Mint decided to stop producing uncirculated mint sets. That's right. In 1982 and 1983, the U.S. Mint didn't release the traditional mint sets that collectors usually buy. What does that mean for us today? It means most of the coins from those 2 years were released straight into circulation, used for everyday purchases, and most got heavily worn over time. Now, let's talk specifically about the Washington quarter minted in Denver in 1982. The famous 1982 D quarter. On the surface, it looks like a typical quarter with George Washington's profile on the front and the familiar eagle on the back. But the devil is in the details. Because of the Mint's cost-cutting measures, they also made a change that year. They stopped using mint marks on some collector materials and, more importantly, they made a subtle change to the dies that stamped the coins. Some of the quarters were struck with weak or poorly defined details, and this created a number of interesting varieties. But one variety in particular has become legendary, the rare 1982 D quarter with a strong strike, in pristine condition, with full details and an extremely high mint state grade. Now here's where it gets crazy. Most 1982 D quarters are worth just their face value, 25 cents, unless they're in extremely good condition. But in 2019, a 1982 D. Washington Quarter Graded MS-68 by PCGS. That's one of the highest possible grades, sold for an astonishing $1.3 million. Yes, you heard that right. $1.3 million for a modern-looking quarter from the 1980s. That sale shocked collectors and made headlines in the numismatic world. So, what made that coin so special? Let's break it down. First, the grade. Coin grading goes from 1 to 70, with MS-70 being a flawless coin. A grade of MS-68 means the coin is nearly perfect, with razor-sharp details, flawless surfaces, and incredible luster. Finding any coin from the early 1980s in that kind of condition is extremely rare, and even more so for a quarter that was never intended for collectors. Second, rarity and condition. The 1982 D quarter was heavily circulated, meaning most of them are scratched, dull, and worn out. Finding one in mint condition, especially straight from a bankroll or forgotten stash, is like hitting the jackpot. Third, demand. As more collectors turn their attention to modern coins, especially those with unique history and scarcity in high grades, prices are climbing. The 1982 D quarter has become a holy grail for some because of that $1 million sale. But before you go digging through your change jar hoping to find a $1 million coin, there's something you should know. Most 1982 D quarters, even if they look nice, are only worth a few dollars. If you've got one in extremely good condition, like never circulated, bright, no scratches, it might be worth getting graded. A certified MS-65 might sell for $20 to $50. An MS-66 might bring over $100. MS-67 can go into the hundreds or even thousands. But MS-68? That's the unicorn. That's the 1 in a million coin that changes everything. So here's what you should look for. Grab a magnifying glass and check the condition. Look for full details on Washington's hair, sharp edges on the lettering, and a clean surface with no visible scratches or wear. If it looks perfect, it might be worth a closer look from a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Also, keep in mind, there are fake stories and exaggerated claims all over the internet. Just because someone said a 1982 D quarter sold for $1.3 million doesn't mean every 1982 D quarter is worth more than a car. That particular coin was an outlier, a record-breaking sale because of its condition, rarity, and the right buyer at the right time. But here's the exciting part. These coins are still out there. In drawers, in rolls of quarters, in old collections, in bank bags that haven't been opened in decades. If you take the time to learn what to look for and get into the hobby, you never know what you might find. So to wrap it up, yes, a 1982 D Washington quarter once sold for $1.3 million. But it was a nearly perfect coin in a perfect storm of rarity and demand. Most of these quarters are worth a few cents to a few dollars, but the dream is still alive. Keep your eyes open, do your homework, and who knows, maybe your next quarter will be a life changer. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want more coin stories, collecting tips, and hidden treasures, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. Until next time, happy hunting and keep checking your change. Let me know if you want a shorter version, background music suggestions, or visuals to go along with the script. Welcome back to the channel where we uncover valuable coins, share hidden treasures, and show you how ordinary pocket change could be worth an extraordinary fortune. Rarest coins. Today we are exploring one of the most fascinating stories in the world of coin collecting. It's the story of the 1964 D Lincoln penny, a coin that's easy to overlook, a coin that millions of people spent without thinking twice. But one rare version of this coin has captured national attention because it's not worth just 1 cent anymore. In fact, it's reportedly been valued at over $1.6 million. That's right. A 1-cent coin struck in 1964 at the Denver Mint has turned into a multi-million-dollar collector's dream. And in this video, we're going to break down the entire story. We'll go over the history of the 1964 D Lincoln penny, why some versions are so valuable, the details to look for, and how you could be holding one of these treasures without even realizing it. Let's start with the basics. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to mark the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, with the portrait designed by Victor David Brenner. For decades, the Lincoln penny remained relatively unchanged. But by 1964, the coin was going through an important time in American minting history, in the early 1960s. The US was experiencing a coin shortage. Silver prices were rising, and people were hoarding coins. The mint was under pressure to keep coins circulating, and that led to several policy changes and massive production efforts. In 1964 alone, the Denver Mint struck more than 3.7 billion Lincoln pennies. That's a staggering number. These coins featured the familiar image of Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back, a reverse design introduced in 1959 that with that many coins in circulation, most people assume every 1964 D penny is common and worthless. But that's where the story gets interesting. Because a small number of 1964 D pennies were struck with rare mint errors or unusual characteristics that make them extremely valuable. And one particular coin has shocked the collecting world by being valued at $1.6 million. Now let's talk about what makes that possible. First, condition is everything. The majority of 1964 D pennies show heavy wear from circulation, but a small number were kept in mint state condition, untouched, and perfectly preserved. Coins like this, graded MS-66 or higher by professional grading services, can already be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. But if you add a rare mint error to the mix, the value can skyrocket. The million-dollar version of the 1964 D penny was not just in mint state. It also had a unique error, a double die obverse. This is when the die used to strike the coin was improperly manufactured, causing the letters and numbers on the front of the coin to appear doubled. You can usually spot this by looking at the date or the words Liberty and I in God We Trust. If those letters appear to have shadows or overlapping edges, you may be looking at a double die coin. Now here's where it gets really rare. One of these double die pennies was also struck on a transitional planchet. That means instead of being made with the usual copper composition, it was struck on a blank that wasn't meant for a penny at all. Some theories suggest it could have been a foreign planchet or even a leftover from experimental minting processes. The combination of a mint error, wrong metal, and flawless condition created a one-of-a-kind coin. A coin now worth over $1.6 million. So how do you know if you have one of these hidden gems? Start by pulling out any 1964 D pennies you have. Look under the date for the small D mint mark, which stands for the Denver Mint. Then look closely at the lettering and date. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to examine the coin for signs of doubling. Pay special attention to the numbers in the date and the letters in Liberty. Next, weigh the coin on a digital scale. A standard 1964 penny made of 95% copper and 5% zinc should weigh about 3.11 grams. If your coin weighs significantly less or more than that, it could be a sign that it was struck on the wrong metal planchet. Also examine the edges. A regular penny has a smooth edge. If you see reading like on a dime or any unusual features on the rim, that could indicate an error. And here's a very important reminder. Never clean your coin. Cleaning can damage the surface and drastically reduce its value. If you think you have something special, place the coin in a protective holder and take it to a reputable coin dealer or send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. Even if you don't have the $1 million coin, there are still valuable versions of the 1964 D penny. High-grade examples with no wear, coins with die cracks, repunched mint marks, and other small errors can still bring in hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. Let's recap. The 1964 D Lincoln penny is one of the most commonly circulated coins in U.S. history. But among the billions minted, a few rare examples have emerged. Coins with doubled dies, transitional planchets, and flawless surfaces. One of these coins has been authenticated and valued at over $1.6 million. And the best part is, no one knows how many more might be out there. That means the next time you dig through your change jar, your coin collection, or even an old box of keepsakes, take a closer look. That little brown penny could be more valuable than you ever imagined. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want more stories about rare coins, valuable finds, and how to spot hidden treasures in your own home, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. You could be one coin away from the discovery of a lifetime. Until next time, keep your eyes open, check your change, and happy treasure hunting. Would you like me to create a shorter version for YouTube Shorts or help with scripting the visuals and voiceover timing for this content? Let me know how you're planning to use it, and I can fine-tune it further. Welcome back to the channel where we uncover the hidden stories behind the coins in your pocket, rarest coins. Today, we're diving into the mystery, value, and real history of the 1986 P. Washington quarter. Is it true that one of these coins sold for a jaw-dropping $1.4 million? Could one of the quarters you've had sitting in your change jar be secretly worth a fortune? Stick around, because today we're separating the facts from the fiction and uncovering what makes this coin so fascinating to collectors. Let's start with some history. The Washington quarter has been a part of American currency since 1932, first introduced to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. It replaced the standing Liberty quarter and quickly became a staple in circulation. Over the decades, the design has stayed fairly consistent. The profile of Washington on the front and an eagle with outstretched wings on the reverse, up until the state quarter series began in 1999. Fast forward to 1986. Ronald Reagan was in his second term as president, and the U.S. Mint was producing quarters at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The 1986 P quarter, with the P mint mark from Philadelphia, was struck in large numbers, over 551 million coins to be exact. So on the surface, the 1986 P quarter doesn't seem rare. In fact, most people would assume it's just a common coin worth 25 cents. But here's where the story gets interesting. Even though the mintage numbers were high, there are a few specific conditions and varieties that can make this coin extremely valuable. And yes, there is a rumor about a 1986 P quarter that sold for $1.4 million. So let's unpack the truth behind that claim. Most 1986 P quarters in circulated condition are worth their face value. You'll find them in your pocket change, in old drawers, in piggy banks, and they're worth just a quarter. But, and this is a big but, if you happen to find one in perfect uncirculated condition, or better yet, a certified high-grade version with a rare error, then you could be sitting on something worth hundreds, thousands, or maybe even more. Let's talk grading. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A grade of MS60 means it's uncirculated but may have minor imperfections. MS65 and above means the coin is very sharp, clean, and has full original luster. Now, MS67 and MS68 graded coins are incredibly rare, especially from mass-produced years like 1986. Only a handful of 1986 P quarters have ever achieved grades of MS67 or higher, and collectors pay big money for those. One verified MS67 quarter has sold for over $1,000 at auction. MS68? Almost unheard of. That's where the high-end value comes into play. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the claim that a 1986 P quarter sold for $1.4 million. There's been a lot of buzz online, with articles and videos making this claim. But here's the truth. No verified auction or grading service has confirmed that a standard 1986 P quarter sold for that amount. However, it is possible that an extremely rare error coin or a one-of-a-kind specimen in absolutely perfect condition could theoretically fetch such a high price from a private buyer or collector. The coin market can be wild, and when two people both want a unique piece, prices can skyrocket. What could make a 1986 P quarter worth a life-changing amount of money? There are two main factors: condition and error. First, let's talk about condition. If your quarter looks brand new, with no scratches, full mint luster, and perfect strike detail, you should consider having it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. A coin graded MS67 or higher could be worth hundreds to thousands of dollars depending on market demand. Second, error coins. This is where things get interesting. Collectors go crazy over error coins. These are coins that were misprinted or struck incorrectly at the mint. Some examples include off-center strikes, double dies, wrong planchet errors, or coins missing certain details. If you come across a 1986 P quarter with something unusual, like doubled lettering, a missing mint mark, or a strange shape or color, do not spend it. Get it checked out. Error coins are often very valuable and highly collectible. There have also been reports of 1986 P quarters struck on planchets meant for other coins, like dimes or foreign coins, which would make them even more valuable. If your quarter feels too light, too heavy, or sounds strange when dropped, you might want to take a closer look. Let's recap. The 1986 P Washington quarter is a common coin in most cases, but in pristine condition or with rare mint errors, it can be worth far more than its face value. While the story of a $1.4 million quarter makes for great headlines, the reality is that it would take a truly unique combination of perfect condition, rarity, and collector interest to reach that level. Still, high-grade examples and rare errors are definitely out there, and they are worth serious money. So what should you do? Go check your coins. Dig through that old jar of change, look through rolls of quarters from the bank, and pay attention to the details. Look for coins with no wear, strong strike, shiny surfaces, and any kind of strange features that could indicate an error. If you find something promising, consider sending it to a grading service. The cost to grade a coin is small compared to the potential value if you strike gold. And remember, the world of coin collecting is full of surprises. Sometimes it's not the age of the coin, but the condition and uniqueness that matter most. Keep your eyes open and your change close, because you never know what might be hiding in plain sight. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful or just love coin collecting, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss our next big discovery. Until next time, good luck, happy hunting, and check your pockets. Your $1 million coin might be closer than you think. If you'd like visuals or animations to match the voiceover, I can help you plan that too. Just let me know.